Your paper for Sprint Side A, and I want you to look at all the whole numbers on the paper. Just glance at all the whole numbers. I see some ones. What else do you see?
2,
3 and 4. Do you see any fives?
No.
No. So the largest number on your number line that you need to put is a 4. And the smallest needs to be a 0.
What? There's a 0?
No. But we are subtracting, so you'll see why it needs to be a 0. Now, all I want you to do is mark your whole numbers. So 3 would be not in the middle. 2 would be in the middle.
3 would be more up to 5.
3 would be halfway between 2 and 4. And 1 would be halfway between 0 and 2. Mark your whole numbers, and that's all I want you to do. Okay? All right. So now I'm going to show you the strategy for figuring these out. But you have to do me a favor. Are you ready? Okay? You have to put your pencils down while I'm showing you. Group it. Lock it. We'll see if that works. Okay. So I'm going to show you the strategy for figuring these out. The first thing I'm looking at when I do a whole number minus a fraction is I just think about the whole number. Okay? If I'm starting with 4 and subtracting, but I'm not subtracting a whole, am I? What's my new whole number going to be?
3.
A 3. So the first thing I want you to do is write down the whole number. Okay? And you could probably go through and write down every single whole number. But we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do one problem at a time. Then if I'm going to subtract a half, so here's what I'm going to think about. This half right here, what would I need to make a whole? What would I have to add to it to make a whole? Another half. So that's my answer. And we'll practice some harder ones. Okay?
Seems easy enough.
Okay, so let's do the next one. If I start with a 3 and I subtract a half, what will my new whole number be?
2.5.
A 2. And then we already know the fraction will be a half because we figured that out up here, didn't we? Okay? And let's look at the next one. If I start with a 2 and subtract a half,
1.
I have 1 as my whole number, and what's my fraction? Okay? Now look at number 4. Eyes up here. If I start with a 1 and I subtract a half, it will be 1/2. So do I need to put the 0 on? No. No reason to. So the answer is 1/2. Now let's do a little bit. Let's try and make this a little harder. Let's go down and practice 7. 6. Let's practice 6. No, let's practice 7. Okay, so 7, read that problem to me while I'm erasing up here.
4 minus 1/3.
So 4 minus 1/3. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is think about, okay, and I'm just going to kind of, you don't have to draw this on your number line. I'm just doing it for a visual, but I'm just going to kind of guess at where 1/3 would be, okay? 4 minus 1/3. So what will my whole number be?
3.
3, okay? Now here's what I got to think about. 1/3 plus something equals 3/3.
2.
Okay, so this is the answer to the fraction. I'm doing 2 different things here. I'm thinking about minus 1 for the whole number, and then I'm finding a missing part to make a whole for the fraction. Let's try some harder ones. And I'm not going to use a number line anymore because I think you're past that. Let's do 3. This is number 12. Everybody look at number 12. 3 minus 3/4. Now visualize on the number line. If I subtract from 3, what's my whole number going to be? 2. Because I'm not subtracting one whole, am I? So then I'm going to think in my mind, 3/4 plus something equals 1/2.
1/4.
So 3/4 plus 1/4 equals 1/2. That's the best way to do this, to do two different things. Let's try 32, because it's kind of right across. Okay? Everyone look at 32. Fernando Q. If I start on 3 and I subtract less than 1/2, what's my new whole number going to be?
2.
A 2. And then I'm going to think in my mind, 5/7 plus something equals 7/7. Hayden, what goes in the blank there? 5/7 plus something equals 7/7. 2/7. So that's my answer. Now I want you to look at 39.
Sorry, I'm just like, I think I have toothpaste in my
Oh goodness. Okay, everyone look at 39. Blair, I want you to help me. Oh, by the way, put a bracket around those. Because I'll tell you what we have to do with those in a minute. Okay? So Blair, if I start at the whole number 3 and I subtract less than a whole, what's my whole number going to be?
2.
Okay, now I got to think in my head. 5/10 plus something equals 10/10.
Plus 5.
Plus 5. 5 plus 5 equals 10.
Plus 5, 10.
Okay, now am I finished, Jay?
What?
Am I finished?
No. What?
Is this problem done?
No. No.
What do I still need to do?
Can you simplify it?
I need to simplify it. I love your language. So what's the answer to that one? 2.5, because 5 is half of 10, right? Okay, look at all of these. Yep, that's why we put a bracket around them. Okay, let's practice another. It's easy. Okay, so if I take the whole number 4 and I subtract less than 1/2, Sadie, what do I get?
What's it? 3.
3 and something, right? So I'm going to think to myself, 2/8 plus blank 8 equals 8/8. So 2 plus what equals 8? 6/8. So 3 and 6/8 is my answer. And I have to simplify it. Because they're both even, what should I probably divide by?
2.
A 2. So everyone write this so you don't forget. So my 3 has to just move across. Boys and girls, don't forget your whole number. That's part of your answer. Okay? What's 6 divided by 2?
3.
What's 8 divided by 2?
4.
So there's my answer. Now, the only ones you have to simplify are these last 4 now. Okay? So do you think you have enough information to be successful on this? I'm going to give you 10 minutes.